What is going on, Dodger fans? Thank you for tuning in to the first December 2025 episode of the Incline Dodgers podcast presented by Believe and Tick Pick. Hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. It's Kevin Klein with Jake Reiner. We're here to talk about the latest in MLB free agency. The winter meetings is just a few days away. I know Jake's got some Dodgers targets he wants to talk about. We'll talk about players' grades later on as well, and just kind of what's been going on in the relief market. But let me pass it over to you, Jake Reiner. How you been doing? What do you want to start today's episode talking about?
I'm doing good, Kevin. A little under the weather, so that's probably why I sound the way I sound. But it has just been kind of a nice break after the World Series. I feel like emotionally it was a roller coaster ride up until the end when the Dodgers finally won it. And that Game 7, I just kept thinking about how many things could have gone wrong, or, this one little thing here, one little thing there. And the Dodgers, don't end up winning back to back, but they did. And it was one of the most fantastic experiences I've ever been through as a fan. You think about the teams we support. I think the Dodgers for me are number one of any sport. So growing up as a Dodgers fan and getting to watch them win back-to-back World Series, not a lot of fans can say that. So it is special, but we're on to next year. So we're already thinking three-peat. And I know that Shohei Ohtani was kind of the first one to say three-peat, like, let's go for it. Let's win it a third time. And even despite the fact that they've won back-to-back World Series, I'm sure we'll have some criticisms of this team once spring training gets rolling and once opening day rolls around. We will be firing on all cylinders, telling you what we think of this team. But as far as the roster goes, Kevin, I mean, it's pretty much intact. I mean, the Dodgers are operating from a place of wealth, obviously, in more ways than one. So there's just a few areas of concern that we have with this roster. You think about maybe adding an outfielder. I think that's got to be, top of the list of things that they need. And then adding a few relievers. As well. I know that some guys are coming back from injury, so there's that, but I feel like there are some relievers on the market that I want to talk to you about, get your thoughts on. We're already seeing guys fly off the free agent list. We just saw that guy from the KBO, Ponce or whatever his name is.
Target. Everyone thought he was going to San Diego.
Yeah, the San Diego Ponce Rays, and no longer. He's going to the Blue Jays. And the Blue Jays have been busy. They obviously have a chip on their shoulder after losing in the World Series to get back on the horse and build on this roster.
Let's talk relief market. That's where I want to get this show kicked off. But you mentioned the Dodgers are your number one team. I mean, everyone knows me. The LA Sparks. They're clearly my priority. I always put Sparks games on, and then if I have time, I watch the Dodgers. No, I'm fucking around.
Name 3 players, Kevin.
Cameron Brink, Kelsey Plum, and that's all I got.
Okay.
No, but the Dodgers is my priority, even in the offseason. We got Lakers games on. I'm still thinking Dodgers offseason and what rumors and what targets they have. And the relief market is obviously the biggest Dodgers priority. Appreciate people tuning in. Smash that like button. So yesterday, we were hit by a huge bomb. I did not see this coming. I'd been touting him all offseason. I thought Devin Williams to the Los Angeles Dodgers was a near lock. So I'm dead wrong. He ends up going to the New York Mets in kind of a shocker, in my opinion, because I thought Devin Williams didn't even like living in New York. He didn't really have a great experience with the Yankees. But he goes to the Mets on like a 3-year, $51 million deal total, which in my opinion is the correct price. Would have been nothing for the Dodgers. I don't think money is an obstacle at all, but he's off the board. Helsley's off the board. He's going to Baltimore. Iglesias is off the board. He's staying with the Braves. So these big-time relief names, they're coming off the board quick. And we'll get into it in terms of the Tanner Scott situation. But at the end of the day, I don't think the Dodgers have a closer they can be confident in right now. And I think there's a lot of holes in this bullpen, and they need to sign a big name. So I'm throwing the big dart out there right now. It kind of feels like it's a near Edwin Diaz or bust situation for the Dodgers. Where do you land on Edwin Diaz?
Well, I mean, you brought up Tanner Scott, and it kind of makes me think, like, are the Dodgers kind of shying away from giving a reliever a big contract like that? Because they gave Tanner Scott $72 million in his first season in Dodger blue. He doesn't even crack the World Series or postseason rosters. They say he was injured, but honestly, he didn't deserve to be on there anyway with the way he was pitching. So I don't know if that means they're going to be scared to go after someone like Edwin Diaz. I mean, obviously, he's a prized possession, and getting a closer like that would be huge. But I don't know if I really want to spend that much money on a closer like that. I think they can get by with maybe going a couple of tiers below that and going for like a Pete Fairbanks or, dare I say, Kenley Jansen of that ilk, right? There's a couple other names on there that I would consider, because at this point, I think what I would like to see is kind of what we have. Like, I want to see what Tanner Scott looks like in year 2. I mean, he can't be any worse. I really don't think he can be any worse. I mean, he had the most blown saves in Major League Baseball. So if he tops that, that would be insane. But I think the Dodgers might pull the plug a little sooner on that if that were the case. But the Dodgers have shown that they're going to stick with guys longer than we would like them to. I mean, we were calling for Miguel Rojas to be DFA'd, and that would have been a huge mistake. The Dodgers stick with their guys as long as they can. I mean, they stuck with Michael Conforto forever. They stuck with Tanner Scott. I mean, obviously they just got him, so they're going to give him as much leeway as possible. But I just feel like I don't know if that is something we really need to go all in on right now in terms of Edwin Diaz.
I think if the Dodgers enter 2026 with this bullpen and maybe one decent arm, not even a notable relief pitcher, they're going to be in a world of hurt. A year of what Tanner Scott did last season, I don't think he's earned the right to be the Dodgers closer at all. He'll be lucky if he's pitching the 8th inning at the rate he's been going. Last season, he was abysmal. I mean, he had an ERA of near 5. He had 10 blown saves, gave up just a disgusting amount of home runs. He gave up 11 home runs. He was just bad across the board. And like you mentioned, they didn't even trust him to pitch in the playoffs. The injury, I call bullshit on that. I think the injury was just an excuse to not hurt his ego. Like if he was even half decent, he'd be on that playoff roster. I think they lost faith in him like they did with Michael Conforto. The reason I think they're not scared to pay a guy like Edwin Diaz maybe is because if he's only getting $20 million a year, what is $20 million for one relief pitcher if they're going to have to pay a guy like Fairbanks $12 million and then someone else $8 million? Just give the top closer, give the best closer on the board who's been the top relief pitcher available the bag. And you do have to give up a draft pick because there's the qualifying offer attached to Edwin Diaz. But I'm going to throw this back to you, Jake. Maybe the reason the Mets pivoted to Devin Williams is because they know Edwin Diaz is off to the Toronto Blue Jays or the Los Angeles Dodgers.
It's definitely possible. I feel like obviously all the big names that are on the market, the Dodgers are going to be at least kicking the tires on, right? So, I mean, definitely possible that was their plan all along if they caught wind of that.
And what's not to like about Diaz? Last season for the Mets in an all-star campaign, had a 1.63 ERA through 66 innings, had 98 strikeouts, a 2.28 FIP. He's had seasons in the past where he's at a 1.31 ERA. I mean, this guy is just a monster of a closer, and it'd be such a gimmick, such a way to sell merchandise to have the trumpet. They could do a trumpet giveaway, Edwin Diaz bobblehead night. They can just make so much merchandise off the Edwin Diaz train that the contract will probably pay for itself. But I really do think that they are going to be a little bit more aggressive than I initially thought with Edwin Diaz, because like I was just saying a minute ago, I don't think money is an issue for this team. The years, on the other hand, that might be the concern. Do you really want to give 5 years to an aging relief pitcher? I mean, he's not as young as he used to be. He's 31, almost 32 now. So the back end of that contract, year 4, year 5, it could get ugly.
Yeah, that's the only thing. It's like you pay a reliever high value for extended period of time. You run the risk of them, breaking down, and then you're on the hook for that contract. And could be the case where you have both Tanner Scott and Edwin Diaz on your roster that unfortunately would be dead weight. If
Oh,
what happened to you, or is it me?
I think you dropped.
Oh, weird. Yeah, I've been having some internet issues, but I just think that, yeah, I mean, the Dodgers, the money is nothing to them, so whatever. But like, I don't know. I caution giving that much money to a big time closer, but he is the best in the game. So, I mean, I guess let's go for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the Dodgers' right-handed relief options right now, it ain't that pretty. You've got Blake Trinan, who's really old now and is coming off a terrible season. You couldn't even trust him really to close games. He nearly cost the Dodgers a couple playoff wins. You've got Brusdar Graterol, who is basically appearing as much as the Easter Bunny at this point. You might see Graterol once in a season if we're lucky. He didn't even pitch at all this most recent year, and who knows what his health looks like. I just don't trust Graterol. You lost Kirby Yates in free agency. You lost Evan Phillips because you declined his offer, so now he's a free agent and he's recovering from Tommy John surgery. You've got Edgardo Henriquez, who has some strong potential, but he's also very wild and erratic with his command, and is kind of like another Graterol where you don't really trust him to get control and strikeouts at time. You've got Will Klein, who I actually think is going to be the biggest riser of this bunch. I'm buying a lot of Will Klein stock. I think he's going to be a high leverage arm for the Dodgers this upcoming season. You've got Kyle Hurt coming off Tommy John surgery, but who knows what he's going to look like. Emmett Sheehan's going back to the rotation. Roki Sasaki is going back to the rotation. So point being said, the right-handed relief options for the Dodgers are bare right now. So you said you had some maybe targets you were looking at?
Yeah, I mean, I think someone like a Pete Fairbanks would be great. And I don't think you're going to have to break the bank to get him. And you can basically do a 1 or 2 year, maybe three, if that. But I feel like 1 or 2 is kind of the sweet spot for a reliever because, then you're not on the hook for them for, forever and for a ridiculous amount of money. I mean, you look at what he did last year. He had a 2.83 ERA. I'm looking at his Savant page, all red, a lot of just red.
Are you concerned, though, that teams like the Tigers, the Marlins, the Pirates are bidding war over him right now?
No, because that's the tier that they're looking at. I mean, that's the tier that they feel like they can afford. So I feel like that makes sense. And I also believe that obviously they would like to get someone like an Edwin Diaz, but they don't. I mean, Tigers aside, those other teams don't have the roster to put a guy like that at the back end of the bullpen that's going to make any kind of difference. And I don't think that they're going to be able to attract a big name free agent like Edwin Diaz. So I feel like Pete Fairbanks is kind of their level. I have scoffed at the idea in the past of bringing back Kenley Jansen, but this guy just continues to not age. Like he's gotten even better, it seems. Last year he had a 2.59 ERA, 29 saves. The last 3 seasons, Kevin, 29 saves, 27 saves, 29 saves, and he was saving games for the Angels. And I'm looking at his Savant page again, a bunch of stuff in the red for his value here. And I don't think he's going to cost that much. He wants to come back to LA. And there you go. You have a closer right there. And the Dodgers basically won a World Series without one by putting Roki Sasaki at the back end of the bullpen and figuring it out because their starting pitching was so good. And they basically won the West again without a closer. So I don't know how much you really need one in the sense of getting through a regular season. Now, you may not have a Roki Sasaki type of option because maybe Roki hopefully pitches himself into the rotation and he's going to be one of your playoff starters potentially. So you may have some issues when you get to October, but that's what the trade deadline's for, is you assess the roster. You don't go out and get a big time reliever right now.
They hate trading for relievers at the deadline.
But they've done it. They've done it when they've really needed one. And they figured last year their starting pitching was getting healthy at the right time, so they didn't need to go out and get a frontline, relief pitcher, and it worked out. I mean, the past 2 seasons they have gone into the playoffs lacking a very important position and have been able to figure it out and win two titles. So, I don't know how much they really need a guy like Edwin Diaz as much as he would be a great addition to the team.
I think Kenley Jansen is more of a last resort for the Dodgers. Like, I would not expect them to sign Jansen until maybe late January, early February, if all the other chips are off the table. The other big name is Robert Suarez, but I mean, he's probably going to make around what Devin Williams got, and Devin Williams is better than Suarez, in my opinion. So I'd be surprised. I don't think they're going Suarez. I don't love Bob Suarez either. Like, I don't trust him. Yeah. I mean, he throws 101. He's got some gas, but his off-speed pitches have been kind of hittable. Fairbanks, I used to think was going to be a Dodgers target, but I don't think they're going there, honestly. There's a bidding war going on for a relief pitcher, and the Dodgers just don't get into bidding wars with relief arms. I think Fairbanks, if he was a 1-year deal, done deal, he's a Dodger. But I really think these teams like the Pirates, the Marlins, they're serious about spending because they don't want to get in trouble from the players union and all that for their just mismanagement of funds and being so cheap the last few years. So I think they're going to pull like what the Athletics did and start spending some cash and get relievers, even if they're not a winning team.
I would love that. I think baseball needs more of that. It's a team like the Cincinnati Reds can make the playoffs, right? Like, that is an example of a franchise that hasn't really paid anything for anybody, and they still were able to make the playoffs. Think about some of these teams that have some good core young guys. Like, how much longer are the Pirates going to be able to hold on to Paul Skeens? They got to capitalize on that shit now, because otherwise they're just going to have to trade him, likely to the Dodgers or some other big franchise. And then there you go. You've lost Paul Skeens. But here I have a couple other names I want to throw your way, Kevin, just as some other options if they don't get someone like Diaz or Fairbanks. What about a guy like Luke Weaver?
Oh, why would we go with him?
Luke Weaver, look at his Savant page. Pretty good value all around the board. Good reliever, veteran. Have you heard of a guy named Sean Armstrong? Because I haven't.
I've heard of him. Pitches for the Rangers.
Yes. I had never heard of him before in my life, but he had a 2.31 ERA last year, a whip under 1, really good option in the bullpen to have. I just think they need a bunch of dudes, honestly, at this point. Like, they need arms. They need healthy arms. And those guys, Jansen as well, they're not going to cost as much as some of these other guys where you're already paying Tanner Scott a bajillion dollars.
Yeah, I mean, they're both solid. I don't really want Luke Weaver. I feel like he's declining. Tyler Rogers, former Giants relief pitcher, he's been the definition of consistency. If you look at just his numbers every year, usually has an ERA and FIP in the high 2s, low 3s. And he's just been durable. So I don't know if the Dodgers would go that direction. But he's been, good and high leverage and consistent in the later innings of games. Kyle Finnegan's also a free agent. He had a really strong finish with the Detroit Tigers when he got traded after the deadline. Wouldn't mind him, I guess, on a 1-year deal. I do have some question marks how good he would be, but besides like other guys like Emilio Pagan, who I don't have any interest in.
No,
most of these names don't excite me, and I feel like it is going to be a 3-horse race between the New York Mets, the LA Dodgers, and the Toronto Blue Jays for Edwin Diaz. I just don't see any other team right now in the picture that'd be willing to pay him what he's commanding.
I'm just thinking out loud here. And this could age poorly as most of my takes do these days. I don't think they need him. And quite frankly, I don't really, it's not like, I'm not sitting here being like, oh, we need him, we got to have him. We just don't. We just don't. There are other ways that they can build this bullpen that's going to be good. And I feel like a lot of the guys that were kind of bad or mediocre last year aren't going to be as bad or mediocre this year. And there are guys coming back from injury that I feel like what if they re-sign Evan Phillips?
Well, he's not even going to be back to like mid-season.
Okay. Don't need him till mid-season. Don't need him until September, really. I mean,
yeah, but you don't want him probably closing games off Tommy John surgery.
No, but I mean, they've got Tanner Scott, who I really don't think he's going to be as bad. I think actually he's going to figure it out and he's going to be good.
I mean, he can't get much worse, so I'm not going to.
That's what I said. It's a low bar, but I feel like people are going to be surprised at how good he is this year. That's just my take on it.
I think he'll bounce back too, but what if he doesn't?
Then they figure it out. They're the Dodgers.
I mean, Kirby Yates gone. The only
was washed.
The only memory of Kirby Yates is apparently he has an ass tattoo. That's his Dodgers contribution.
Yeah,
good Brock Stewart never healthy. Gratterall always hurt. Kyle Hurt always hurt. Ben Kasparius good, but he fizzled out. Gavin Stone could be in the pen, but he's coming off shoulder surgery. Well, I'm only really talking about right-handed options, to be honest. Lefties, we're good. We got Vesia, Dreyer, Scott maybe. I don't know what they're going to do with Bonda, but I'm talking we need right-handed relievers.
I'm with you, and I'm just saying they don't need to get Edwin Diaz to fulfill that role. They can get another guy that's cheaper and you're not on the hook for that long. But look, if they get Edwin Diaz, I'm not going to be upset about it. I just don't think they need him. My biggest concern, Kevin, and we'll get to it, is the outfield. That's my biggest concern because I cannot watch another season of Teoscar Hernandez patrolling right field. They've got to fix that. That to me is a much bigger issue. What?
Don't you think it's going to happen?
You know it is because why would they change it, right? That to me is a bigger issue than the closer.
Are there any outfield names you're targeting? So Jeff Passan put out a pretty in-depth, 25 names that he could see getting traded, and then he puts their percentages next to the names and lists the teams that could be suitors. So, like, for example, Jarren Duran, 50% being traded, Dodgers not listed. Steven Kwan, it was like 15, 20% chance being traded, Dodgers not listed. There is a name I'm going to get to in a second that is listed, and I've been talking about him a lot. But before we go to him, I want to make sure if you want to go back to Cody Bellinger or Kyle Tucker or someone else out there that you think they need to get, like who are your targets?
I don't think they're going to go after Ty. I don't think Kyle Tucker's in the plans. I mean, he's the best option out there. But again, I feel like they have a good core in place right now that they don't necessarily need a Kyle Tucker. Although some of the Dodgers' big stars are getting older, so you got to kind of be worried about that. But they've got some really amazing outfield prospects in the pipeline, like a Zaire Hope or a Josue DePaula coming up through the system. Like they've got guys that are going to be there. I would like to talk about Ryan Ward at a certain point, obviously towards the end of the show, because we don't really need to spend that much time on him, but he was added again to the 40-man roster. I wonder if he even gets a shot after having an incredible season at AAA. But free agent wise, yes, I'm going to go back to Cody Bellinger because I just think he is a perfect fit for this team.
Oh my God.
an absolute perfect, can't get any better fit than Cody Bellinger. He is one of the best outfielders in baseball. You put him in right field, he patrols right field. He's got a great arm, okay? He also is a power bat. He hit 29 homers last year. He's going to have that power again. And Kevin, he is a postseason hitter.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
Lie.
He won an MVP in 2018 as
he had
the
like 200 that
MVP.
series.
I don't care. He had some big clutch hits. He had big clutch hits in 2021 in that Giants series. He is a postseason hitter, Kevin.
What is his? I'm not going to tell you the answer. What do you think his postseason batting average is?
We're going on batting average. It's probably bad.
I'll go to OPS and on base too, but I'm starting down the line.
He's not a Kike Hernandez or a Jock Peterson in the postseason, but he is a postseason hitter. He does perform in the playoffs.
211 lifetime in the playoffs. He has a 660 OPS.
He robbed Fernando Tatis Jr. of a bomb in center field in 2020.
That was like, that's going to be 6 years ago when the season.
I don't care, Kevin. He's a perfect fit for this team. You insert Cody Bellinger into that lineup, into that outfield, and watch what happens. Just watch.
You are high. I don't know what you're smoking. This is so twisted because people think Kenley Jansen is not a playoff pitcher, yet he has like a career 2 ERA in the playoffs. Then you got people like, and it's not just you. There's a lot of people that think Cody Bellinger is Mr. Clutch in October. He's got a few big hits. I'm not going to deny him of that. His Game 7 home run against the Atlanta Braves, obviously huge. He had a huge hit against Camilo Doval the following season in Game 5 of the NLDS.
I've seen enough. Bring him home. Bring him home.
He is not a playoff hitter. He was awful in the 2017 World Series too. Remember,
he's a rookie.
I don't care. I do not care.
Just watch.
I don't think he's coming to the Dodgers. I would be sick to my stomach if we gave him a 5-year contract.
Oh, please. Please.
I just don't get the fascination.
Sick to your stomach. They're not going to give him a 5-year deal.
That's what he wants. He's Scott Boras. We're going to be bidding against the Yankees because apparently he is their priority.
All right. That's what I would pick.
You and Brian Cashman need to go on like a date or something so you guys can just glaze Cody Bellinger. Like, I don't get the love for him. He's not even an all-star anymore. He hasn't been an all-star since 2019, his MVP year.
He had 29 home runs last year and an 814 OPS. Look at his Savant page. It's in everything red.
I mean, how much of that was just playing at Yankee Stadium?
Who cares? I will die on that hill.
All red. There's a ton of blue here.
I will gladly take Cody Bellinger for a 5-year deal to never watch Teoscar Hernandez play right field again. And that to me is worth it. And not to mention the fact that he comes with a lot of other skills that people are knocking him for. I don't understand the hate. I really don't. Bring him home. But okay, if we're not getting Cody Bellinger, who that would be my number one, I feel like they could go maybe a tier below that. They've got to get someone in the outfield. They just have to. They have to figure out a way to move Teo back to left and just keep him there because they're going to have Teoscar Hernandez for the next couple seasons. He needs to play left field. He stinks in right field. He just is terrible. He almost lost us a few games in the playoffs. He certainly lost us games in the regular season with his outfield play. But here's some other names if you don't like Cody Bellinger. Your boy, Mike Tauchman. You like him? I know you like him.
He was more of like a fourth outfielder. I don't think I would go into the season prioritizing him as an everyday guy.
Above average fielder, good hitter, coming off a good season.
Him. If they want to dump Alex Call and add Tauchman, I'd be on board with that. But I don't think.
I mean, he has 356 on base percentage. What are you expecting out of this outfield role? Because the thump is coming from Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Smith, and Teo and Muncy. So
I have a guy.
What do you really want in the outfield other than a guy that is a plus defender with some power and can get on base? What else do you want?
I'm all in. There's only one guy I really truly want. It'd have to come via a trade, but give me Brendan Donovan of the St. Louis Cardinals. That is like the perfect match for the Dodgers. I don't know if they would bat him leadoff or second or seventh, but the guy is just the model of consistency right now. Batting average, call me an old head. I don't care. 281, 284, 278, 287. That's the first 4 years of his career, with this most recent season, him being an all-star. On-base percentage, 394, 365, 342, 353. The margin between the on-base and the batting average, that's a pretty fat clip. Means he draws walks. He gets on base. He's not a power guy, but you just said it a second ago. We don't need a thump. I don't need another 30-plus home run hitter. 10 to 15 home runs, I'm good with that. Just get me a guy that gets on base, sets the table for a Shohei Ohtani, and I love his versatility. He can play left field. Maybe he can play some right field. I don't know. But he can also play all across the infield. So he fits many hats. I think he'd be an excellent addition for the Dodgers.
I don't know what the status of Tommy Edman's ankle is, but ideally, if you got a guy like Donovan, you could put Edman in center and move Pages to right, and then have Donovan play second. I'm on board with that. These are, again, I'm not advocating like I was advocating for Cody Bellinger. These are just some names that kind of fit the mold we're talking about before you jump down my throat again. Harrison Bader. That's a guy that you could probably get for cheap. He's a really good outfielder, and he had a 347 on base percentage last year. He's, still relatively youngish, 31. So, that could be a guy you could go after. Now, another guy that would be kind of interesting, he had a really down year last year, but I was looking at his defensive metrics, and they're kind of crazy. I didn't realize he was this good of a defender, but Adolis Garcia would be an interesting name that I would be on board with. Stick him in right field. He's a kind of a clutch kind of vibe guy. He's going to gel with this team pretty well. I would like to see them at least kick the tires on him.
We're speaking the same language. That's my one-year flyer guy that I wouldn't mind if the Dodgers, if they can't get anything else, give Adolis Garcia that 1 year, and he can be the bridge gap for the prospects. I also think there's a lot of meat on the bone. I don't think he's washed by any means. I don't know why he struggled, but he could bounce back on a good team. And he's been clutch. I think you just said that a second ago.
He's been clutch. He was clutch in the World Series and in the postseason for the Rangers when they won it. He's a couple, years removed from hitting 39 home runs and 25 home runs in 24. And then last year, I don't know what happened. He just had a complete down season, but maybe you get him at a good price. And like you said, all I'm concerned about is just getting better defensively in the outfield and moving Teo back to left field and just keeping him there.
I'd be surprised if they do that at this point. I don't know why they won't, because you got Andy Pages. You could play Andy Pages in right and Teoscar in left and just figure it out with center field. They're making it harder on themselves.
I know. I mean, there's also, center field options. Like, I know this is a weird name when I came across it, but someone like a Jake Myers,
Oh, he's on the trade block.
Oh, he's not a free agent?
I thought I was reading he's trying to be traded from the Astros.
Okay. Well, I mean, there are other options you can have to play center field. But
for sure.
That to me, I mean, when we're thinking about the tiers of importance of what they need, in my opinion, it's outfield. It's figuring that situation out, because I feel like they're either going to get Edwin Diaz or they're going to get someone like we've mentioned a tier below that, and the bullpen's going to be fine.
We'll see. Well, For those watching right now, if you haven't hit the like button yet, give us a like. If you have a question for us, make sure to indicate what questions you want us to answer. We'll get to those in a little bit. But shifting gears here, one of my favorite segments we do every offseason, we go through the line and we grade Dodgers based off their 2025 season performance. So let's start with 5 names. We'll just go with the first 5 in the Dodgers batting order. And Jake and I will break down quickly and maybe elaborate on one of these names in further depth. But here's the tier. We've got Will Smith. You've got Freddie Freeman. You've got Shohei Ohtani. You've got Mookie Betts. And you've got Max Muncy. So I'll go first. I'll give my grades on those guys, and then I'll let Jake speak. Shohei Ohtani, A+. No explanation needed.
MVP.
Yeah. Pitched great. Amazing in the playoffs. Mookie Betts, I'm going to give him a C+. I thought his bat was really disappointing. He stunk in the playoffs too. The only silver lining of his season was he played a really good defensive shortstop, but that's not what the Dodgers needed. They didn't need a really good defensive shortstop. They needed an okay shortstop defensively, and they needed a really good number 2 hitter to help drive in Ohtani, and Betts didn't provide that. Hence why they moved him down in the batting order, and that might have saved our season. Will Smith, giving him a solid A. Freddie Freeman, A-. Max Muncy, B+.
I agree with all your assessments there. I think that Mookie Betts, I would say, would be C, maybe B in there, just because of the fact that he learned a brand new position and became elite at it and nearly won a Gold Glove. So there is that. But like you said, and like we've been saying, it's like they didn't need to do that. It was just like, isn't this cool? It's kind of like the Harlem Globetrotters. It's like, they're just doing shit because it's cool. And you're impressed because they're actually really good at what they're doing. Kind of similarly with Mookie Betts. It's like, he was like, I'm going to prove to you guys that I can play shortstop. And he did, which just speaks to what a freak athlete he is and how he's just basically good at everything. I saw, I don't know if you follow him on TikTok, Kevin, but I saw he's now practicing the guitar, which, he's going to start shredding on that, I'm sure, very, very shortly. But yeah, his bat, very underwhelming. Even though he had some key moments, he had a couple of key, sac flies and a big walk in the Philly series. He, made the final out, the double play to win the World Series, which wasn't an easy play to make given the circumstances. So yeah, I agree with the rest of the assessments that you gave. The thing about Max Muncy that I'll say is that what was interesting during the regular season was how much they missed him, because when he was not in the lineup, it was like a completely different approach, a completely different lineup. He was that speed bump in the middle to work the count, get on base. If a pitcher was in a groove, he would disrupt that. And again, got him and Will Smith. I mean, always, they're always involved in some big moment in the playoffs, and they always come through when you need them the most.
We've got a super chat from our pal Moose 1032, and it's on the Mookie Betts subject. So perfect time for this question. Thank you, Moose. Is Mookie going to play shortstop again? And would we lose his bat again next season?
I mean, it seems like all signs point to yes, he is going to play shortstop. I haven't heard anything to the contrary. I also took a look at, I was curious if there were any interesting shortstop options. And the only one on there that is worth really talking about is Bo Bichette, which I don't think they're going to go out and get him.
I'd rather have Cody Bellinger over Bo Bichette.
Yeah, so would I. I'm worried about his bat. I am. But maybe the case is now that he, put in so much work at shortstop that a lot of the things that he was so focused on and concentrated on will become second nature to him, and it won't be as much of a grind, and he can get his swing back. And I know he has said, the Dodgers have said that the defense was not affecting the offense, but I mean, what else was it? It wasn't, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't anything else really that was contributing to it or that you could really like grasp onto.
Yeah, I think they're going to have him at shortstop yet again because we haven't heard anything otherwise. I do think the bat is going to continue to decline because why would it improve when you're playing a physically demanding position and you put together that type of season? So 20 home runs is probably the ceiling, or around 20 home runs is what you'll probably get from Mookie Betts. Probably hit around 250, and this will be something we probably talk about more at nauseum as we get into spring training and closer to opening day. But I wouldn't hit Mookie Betts second anymore. If he's performing at that level, he's not a two-hole hitter, and it nearly cost us the World Series. But more on that later.
I mean, they were walking Ohtani to get to him, and
Yeah.
typically when they did that during the regular season, more so in 24 than in 25, Mookie Betts made them pay, and he just wasn't doing that anymore this year.
All right, I'll give these next tier to you if you want to write them down. Otherwise, it's Tommy Edman, Andy Pages, Teoscar Hernandez, Michael Conforto, Miguel Rojas. And that should be 5, right?
Okay, Conforto F. I mean, I think we can both agree on that. He was awful. Tommy Edman had a down year. Now, granted, he was hurt, so there is that, but he just didn't really do much of anything during the regular season. So I guess a B minus maybe for him. Pages had a great regular season, a breakout year. So I'm going to say B plus or A for him. He was awful in the postseason. So I don't know if that brings it down for him a little bit, but he had a breakout season during the regular season. So I am definitely going to give him a B plus at the least, A at the most. Who else did you say? Miguel Rojas?
Yes.
I mean, Miguel Rojas is a headache of a player sometimes because it appears like he is, playing for himself. I mean, that's just kind of what the appearance is. But like you watch some of these kind of behind the scenes stuff, you listen to the way that his teammates talk about him and they love him. I mean, Mookie Betts, king among them, talking about how useful he was helping Mookie learn shortstop and all of that. And Miguel Rojas was a guy that Dave Roberts just was like, you know what, I'm going to go back to my roots and trust my veterans and put him in the lineup in Game 6 and Game 7, and it made all the difference in the world, not just defensively, but as we saw in Game 7, offensively with one of the biggest home runs in Dodger history, Miguel Rojas off Jeff Hoffman to tie the game was one of the most incredible things I've ever seen, one of the most improbable things I've ever seen. So I'm going to give Miguel a B plus overall for his season. And I think those are all the names, right?
I think so. Did you say Teoscar?
Oh, Teo. I'm going to go B. I'm going to go B. Just that defense was just atrocious. And a lot of the time it felt like he wasn't even hustling out there. Like it felt so lackadaisical. And that really pissed me off because, they're going to stick you out there every day. Like, all right, you got to show a little bit of effort, but he did come up clutch a number of times, not just during the regular season, even though it was a down year compared to 24, but I mean, God, he was huge in that Phillies series, especially in Game 1. That huge home run in Game 1 that basically led to the Dodgers winning that game and then eventually winning that series.
You're too nice. I'm giving Tommy Edman a C minus. He just was not good. Offensively, he kind of stunk. Maybe it's part of the injuries, but 274 on base percentage. He had a really disappointing season. And now I'm a little concerned that 5-year contract might age like Chris Taylor's contract age. So we'll see what happens there. Michael Conforto, no disagreement here. He's an F. He was fucking terrible. We talked about him sucking all year long. Yet, if you're probably listening to Dodger heads, they're going to give Michael Conforto a C+ or B-, I bet, because they loved him. But Conforto, ass. I hope they don't bring him back. Andy Pages, I'm giving him a B-. He's a really dumb baseball player. He's talented, don't get me wrong, but he's also very dumb at the same time. And he stunk in the playoffs. He had some boneheaded moves. Giving him a B-.
He did make that big catch.
The catch. Maybe the defensive play of the year.
Yeah.
Teoscar Hernandez, B- because he came through in the playoffs. But I mean, my God, his defense was just atrocious. The offense during the regular season was kind of disappointing. Definitely showed some regression. Wasn't the same Teo that we saw the year before. So B-. And then Miguel Rojas, solid A. He really turned his season around. He started off terrible. Jake Reiner wanted to DFA him in May, but he ended up being the unsung hero and hit the most important home run of this season for the Dodgers. And he came through defensively. Miguel Rojas, you get an A.
What? I'm just gonna say real quick. I'll upgrade mine to an A for him because it's ridiculous to give him anything less. I mean, he honestly was one of the more consistent players throughout the season. Once he figured it out, and then obviously what he did in the postseason is. Yeah. Don't forget that crazy defensive play he made in the Phillies series too, diving for the bag. It was incredible.
All right, let's do hitters real quick. The last tier of hitters real quick. Then we're going to go to pitchers. So I'll start with these just to round it off. You've got Kike Hernandez, Hae-Sung Kim, Dalton Rushing. I'm going to skip Freeland. We'll just do Alex Call and Rortvedt. Those will be the final 5. Guys like Chris Taylor, Austin Barnes, they get D's or F's. They stunk. I don't know if Jake wants to talk about them, but I'll leave that up to him. Justin Dean, he didn't really hit, so I don't know if I want to count him either. But anyway,
hands up, Justin Dean, hands up.
Kike, I'm giving him a C-. He really stunk during the regular season, and he had some playoff hits, but honestly, it was a pretty underwhelming season for Kike. Hae-Sung Kim, giving him a solid C. Started out of the gates white hot, was a hitting machine, but he fell off. I'll give him a C. Dalton Rushing, I'll give him a D+. Very disappointing from Dalton Rushing, in my opinion. He kind of stunk with the bat. Alex Call, C-. He didn't really do that much for us either. Stunk in the playoffs, especially that World Series game. I guess I'm talking about in particular. That's the game he stunk at. The game that Jake and I went to, Alex Call didn't do shit. And then they went to Rojas.
He really made me look bad.
Then they went to Rojas, thankfully. And then Ben Rortvedt, A-. I mean, what a guy. Just came in out of nowhere, was catching playoff games. You get an A-. You were a solid backup catcher.
Yeah, I'm gonna give Rortvedt an A, just a solid A. In terms of expectations, what did we expect from him? Probably not a lot. I mean, but he had some hits. I mean, he got some hits in that Red Series, some RBI hits. So I was very impressed with his ability to handle the pitching staff while Will Smith got healthy. And then Will Smith did get healthy, and he was huge in his ability to kind of bridge that gap to Will Smith. So I'll give him a solid A. Dalton Rushing, C/D. I was expecting more from him. And when Ben Rortvedt takes your job, you're not going well. Hae-Sung Kim, I felt like it's like a C/B for me. In the B being the fact that he kind of came onto the scene pretty hot and looked like, a real tool. The Dodgers didn't use him. And that was my problem, was like when he was hot, they didn't stick with him. And I felt that was a disservice to him. Then of course he got hurt, but he was big as a pinch runner for sure in the playoffs. Just to have his ability, he's so fast and he's such a smart base runner. Just to have him out there was great. Alex Call, very underwhelming. Good vibe guy though, really good vibe guy to have in the clubhouse, to have in the dugout. Always really like ready and willing to step in there.
Cool. All right, starting pitchers. I'm going to go through these ones pretty quick because I'll save my takes for the relievers. But Yoshinobu Yamamoto, A+. No explanation needed.
Didn't miss a start.
What's that?
Yamamoto didn't miss a start.
That's a good point. Clayton Kershaw, give him a solid B. I mean, his last season, and he pitched really well overall. He gets a B. Dustin May, couldn't wait for him to be off the team. He gets a D+. He really stunk. Tyler Glasnow, elite in the playoffs, pitched enough during the regular season, in my opinion. Tyler Glasnow, you get an A-. Emmett Sheehan, A-. And yeah,
Snell?
I guess. Oh,
did
Snell.
You say Snell?
I did not say Snell. He wasn't on this list for some reason. There he is. Blake Snell, solid A.
Yeah, I would give Yamamoto and Snell A+. They pitched like aces. They were incredible in the playoffs. Snell took a bit of a hit during the World Series, but overall was just immaculate. Yamamoto at no point was bad. So to me, he was just the MVP in every sense of the word. He earned that in the World Series, and it's just an incredible job by him. I mean, the fact that he was willing to pitch in that 18-inning game after having pitched the night before, or 2 days before, and then pitches game 6 and 7. I mean, it's like that is just a work of art. Glasnow, A for sure. Just when healthy, is a great pitcher. Kind of an unsung hero, under the radar kind of guy in the playoffs, even though he is one of their star pitchers. But did a great job in the playoffs. Got out of some really tough jams too against the Phillies. And then Kershaw, I'm going to give him a B+. I just think his swan song year was kind of incredible. The way he was able to be effective. And, these were the terms that he really wanted to go out on. He wanted to go out on, still being able to get guys out, which he was, to be a contributor to this team, which he was. And he was a contributor in the playoffs. I mean, he got a big out in the World Series in that 18-inning game. We talk about Will Klein and the heroics that he had, and we had him on the show recently. But Kershaw coming into an impossible situation once again, either Dave Roberts or Don Mattingly, always putting Kershaw in the worst spot ever. Didn't change at all. Even in Kershaw's last year, Roberts putting him in that spot, and he was able to get the ground ball and get out of that inning. So amazing job. Yeah. I agree with you on Sheehan. And I forgot who else you mentioned, but I agree with you.
Did you say May?
Oh, May. Yeah. I mean, he was bad. D, F, whatever. See ya.
First 5 of relievers. So I'll give these options you to go first. Tanner Scott, Jack Dreyer, Anthony Bonda, Alex Vesia, Kirby Yates.
Okay, so Tanner Scott and Yates, F, double F. They were terrible. We don't really need to go over that. Jack Dreyer, A. I think he pitched really well this season, and became one of our elite lefties. Alex Vesia, A. A model of consistency the entire year. A lot of what people talked about was him not being on the World Series roster, which for obvious reasons and for horrible, sad reasons. But you look at what he did in the postseason run, and Kevin, I mean, he got out of so many jams throughout the postseason that he was just an incredible reliever for us. So A for him. And I think that was everyone, right?
Bonda?
Oh, Bonda. Bonda was a headache, man. I mean, he was a real headache kind of all season. So I'm going to give him a C+ or a B- somewhere in there.
Yeah, no, I am 100% in agreement with you. I don't need to even restate those grades because I basically match you. Tanner Scott and Kirby Yates combined gave up 20 home runs. No Dodgers starter. And I know that their innings were limited because some of these guys were on the IL, but no Dodgers starter gave up even close. The closest was May with 16 home runs on his own. But you got 2 high leverage guys that combined together gave up 20 home runs. They were awful. Kirby Yates, what a disaster. one of the biggest blindsides I've ever experienced with regression. I did not see that one coming at all. Like, absolute disaster. It's amazing they won the World Series when they didn't need a single inning from Kirby Yates and Tanner Scott. All right, the next tier of guys. So I'll start off, but we've got Blake Trinan, Ben Kasparius. We'll throw Roki Sasaki in there. Who else? We'll throw Will Klein in there, and we'll throw in, last but not least, Robleski, I guess. So Ben Kasparius, B+. He was really hot on the scene the first half and pretty much carried the bullpen. And I think it was the Dodgers' fault he burned out. They just overused him and didn't stick with consistency in his role. Justin Robleski, A-. Dude was a weapon and was really good either as a starter or relief pitcher, which is what they used him mostly as. Roki Sasaki, this one's tough. He stunk as a starter. Like, he was really bad. Then he was good in the playoffs for a couple rounds, but then he kind of fell off the tracks again. I got to give Roki Sasaki, I think, a C. We'll call it at that. And then Blake Trinan, D. I was not impressed with him either. He was really bad. And then who else did I say? Oh, Will Klein. I think I said Will Klein.
Yeah.
A-.
I agree with pretty much everything you said. Only slight alterations with Trinan. I wouldn't go D, but I would go C. I just feel like there were some moments that he had that were good, but mostly an underwhelming season. And then I don't think it's fair to give Roki Sasaki a C. I really don't. I feel like, yes, you could give him that as a starting pitcher because he was supposed to be good right away and he wasn't, and just, was hurt and kind of looked scared. But when they made him into a reliever was when he really took off. And I know that he had some struggles a little bit in the World Series, but what he did to get the Dodgers to the World Series cannot go unnoticed. So I'm going to give him overall, I'm going to go B-.
Okay. Honorable mention to let these names.
Oh, Will Klein, I agree. Sorry, Will Klein, I agree with you.
Cool. Honorable mention, never forget these names. Matt Sauer, Luis Garcia, Lou Trevino, Alexis Diaz, Noah Davis. Don't forget about Bobby Miller, Yohendris Gomez, Chris Stratton, Brock Stewart, Ryan Lotus, Jack Little, even Andrew Heaney, JP Fireeisen, all part of the championship team.
You know who we forgot?
Who's that?
Can you remember can you come up with it? Who we forgot? Kind of a guy that they really tried to use in high leverage and it worked sometimes, didn't work other times.
Oh, for pitcher. Who did I gloss over?
I'll just tell you. It was Enriquez.
Oh yeah, I did skip him. Yeah, I mean he actually pitched more than he did pitch 19 innings in the regular season.
But I feel like the guys like Sauer and Garcia and Trevino, those three, like I appreciated what they did, which was they just 8 innings and they got out there and they threw. And like that's pretty much it because they weren't great.
Last call for questions. Make sure to hit that like button. I am posting it right now. If you want to ask us questions, you got to get that in right now. Jake, final thoughts, anything else you want to cover real quick before we get into kind of the final segments?
I'm looking forward to the winter meetings. I wonder what will happen. Do you feel like the Dodgers are going to be making some big moves this weekend?
I wouldn't call them big moves, but I do think the Dodgers, they have some fat that they need to trim. For example, Landon Knack, I don't think he has a place on this team. Could see him getting traded or DFA'd. Bobby Miller, I think his time with the Dodgers is done as well. I think they're going to move on from him. Um, I just had who was it that I just had in my head? Oh, Alex Freeland, big wild card. Like, what do you do with Alex Freeland? What I'm saying is, if Mookie Betts is your shortstop, Max Muncy is your third baseman, and you've got guys like Tommy Edman who could be at second base depending on his health. Maybe they trade for Brendan Donovan or they give Kim more runway. What do you do with Alex Freeland? He might be a trade chip.
Yeah. And I would have said that too about Dalton Rushing, although they got rid of Hunter Fiducia, they got rid of Barnes, they let Rortvedt go.
Yeah.
So it looks like they're going to use Rushing as a backup catcher, which, okay, I guess.
Yeah, I think they're all in on Rushing, and we'll see what happens with what his role is. Hopefully they find ways to incorporate him, maybe some first base reps, maybe a little outfield, but they got to get him in the lineup a little bit more consistently.
And I think they will. Hopefully his bat's a little bit better, but I would like to see him play a lot more if it warrants it, so that they could give Will Smith as much rest as possible. Because as you saw, once he did get the rest, now granted he was hurt, but once he came back, he was Will Smith in the playoffs.
Yes, the strategy worked. It was really smart on their behalf to basically, it was like 2 days on, 1 day off, 2 days on, 1 day off, and it kept Smith relatively fresh. Let's see. We've got a question from Rocade 3493. Do the Dodgers really bring back Miguel Rojas to go with Alex Freeland from now? Wait, do Dodgers really bring back Rojas to go with Alex Freeland from now on, since he is young and Kim has to be given a runway to prove what they got with him?
I think Rojas is coming back, right?
So obviously it's not official and things could change, but on all of the Rojas interviews, it basically sounds like he's a lock for sure to come back to the Dodgers on a 1-year farewell tour. They're probably going to wait till spring training when you have the more roster flexibility, can move guys to the 60-day. And that's when I think they will sign Rojas. I also just don't think Rojas wants to leave Los Angeles. And he probably wants to maybe go on to be an advisor or a coach for the Dodgers, potentially, if there's an opportunity there. But I think it's pretty obvious they're going to bring him back. I don't think, let me correct myself. If you had asked me before the playoffs, I would have said for sure Kike's coming back over Rojas. Now I think it's the opposite. Rojas is more likely to come back over Kike. I think they're both coming back, but I think if they had to pick one, they're bringing back Rojas over Kike.
I think you got to bring both of them back.
Well, I'm saying they're going to, like, that's my assumption.
Yeah.
But if for some reason they only have one spot for whatever reason, because they're like, oh, we got to have Freeland in there. Oh, we got Kim in there. I think Rojas has the edge.
Yeah. I don't know I really don't know what they do with Alex Freeland. I think you're right. I think if the Dodgers are going to make a trade, like, let's say for a Duran or for Stephen Kwan or someone like that, like, I feel like Freeland would be a good chip in one of those deals, because it doesn't seem like he has any kind of fit or role on this team right now.
He's in a tough spot, and they've got some top.
But here's the thing, right? It's like you bring Muncy back, which they did. They picked up his option. Muncy does not make it through a full season. I mean, he just doesn't, especially now. He's in his mid-30s. So you may want someone around like that can plug in.
Yeah, no, that's a valid point. Forgot to consider that. Makes sense to me. But at the same time, if you can flip Freeland for some needs, you got to do it. Yeah. All right, Jake, anything else you wanted to cover?
My one final thought, Kevin, and I see you're wearing a World Series shirt.
I am.
What has pissed me off about the Dodgers merch out there that I've seen, where's the back-to-back stuff? Why aren't there more? I feel like Dodgers fans want to flex, especially, I know I do. Where is the back-to-back gear? We need more of that. I don't want more t-shirts that say World Series champions 2025. Yeah, that was great last year when we hadn't won since 2020. But now that we won back to back, the first time in 25 years any team's ever done that, where's all that merch? I want a hat. I want a shirt. I want some sweatpants. Where is that stuff? Have you seen any of that stuff? It's ridiculous that we can't find any good stuff like that.
There is one site that I know has been rocking the back-to-back Dodgers stuff. I haven't bought anything personally from them. Let me just.
But I'm talking about like Fanatics. Like I'm talking about like the main MLB store.
I'll get
like
to them in a second.
Like their stuff is not good.
I have some thoughts on them. I can't seem to find the site right now. I thought it would be really easy to find. Oh, here it is. Yeah. This is what I thought it was. 47 and more. I'm not too familiar with that brand, but they have some back-to-back World Series stuff. It looks solid. I don't know if I'm going to buy it yet, but 47 Men's, I guess that's the company. So shout out to them. On that Fanatics note, though, what a piss poor job they are doing. I have to say, because I agree with you, when the merchandise like went on the website, normally I just buy stuff right away. And my God, I was so underwhelmed with what they had to offer. It is the most lazy, generic printed stuff that I feel like I've ever seen. Like there's just no heart. This shirt fortunately came out a few days later, and it's a little generic on the front, but why I like it is on the back. It's got all the players because I like stuff like that so that when I wear the shirt, I can be like, oh yeah, I remember when these people were on the team. But yeah, the hats suck. The hoodies suck. Most of the shirts suck. It's just a poor job by Fanatics and MLB. Lazy.
I mean, back to back, like that needs to be everywhere. Like we need they should be oozing that stuff out. I just don't get it.
Yeah. Yeah, otherwise, no, there's no other rumors that were worth covering. The Padres, I'm keeping an eye out on them because early thoughts right now, they're going to stink next season. They have no pitching and they're just falling apart. Like the Craig Stammen hire and Steven Souza Jr. being their hitting coach, what an absolute joke. The Padres they're going to be bad. I'm calling my shot now.
Like bad, like they won't make the playoffs bad?
Oh, yeah. They won't even finish above 500 bad.
Whoa. Okay.
I'm early on right now buying Giants shares. They won't be better than us, but I think the Giants, they could be a strong wild card team.
And where do the D-backs fit in that?
They need a lot of pitching too. And if they trade Ketel Marte, it's really going to depend what their return is. I don't know if they're going to be good either, to be honest. It might be a 2-horse race. Dodgers, Giants. Because the East is pretty good. You've got the Mets, who I think will bounce back. The Phillies. I'm sure Braves will turn it around. And then the Central, Brewers don't seem to ever go away. The Reds finally made the playoffs. I'm sure,
Cubs.
They'll make – and the Cubs, who are pretty good. So those are my early thoughts. I don't remember if I asked you this, Jake, but this is my final off the wall thought. Do you watch Pluribus?
Yes.
You're caught up?
I am.
Okay. So in the last episode, it ended on a cliffhanger. I'm not going to
and wait, let me just make sure I am actually caught up. So the last episode came out when? Last week?
Wednesday before Thanksgiving?
Yes. Okay, I am caught up. Yes.
Okay. So here's my theory. So I don't want to spoil it because I feel like it would give away too much for those that aren't caught up. By the way, if you like Breaking Bad and you like Better Call Saul, then you got to check out Pluribus. It's easily the best show of the fall right now. Like, I don't even think it's close. Anyways, the Coyotes that were trying to dig up the lead character's partner or whatever, that was a foreshadowing to a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Those Coyotes, I'm predicting right now, they're infected like the humans are. And the reason they're digging up that body is because it ties to what the human infected people also need, which I guess this isn't technically a spoiler yet because they haven't revealed anything, so I guess I can say it. I think they're feeding off dead bodies, and I think the Coyotes trying to go after her dead body, that was a precursor foreshadow to kind of what the human infected also want. So that's my
Yeah.
theory.
Okay. All right. I like that. I could definitely see that being the case. Um, I thought she was going to make that woman that she was assisting in the wheelchair. I thought she was going to get her to crack. Like I really thought she was going to tell her. And then it was just a great scene with like all those people coming out of the woodwork, just like converging on them. It's just such a fascinating show where like you're kind of along with the main character of like, what the fuck's going on? And like, you're kind of, on the ride with her throughout, like trying to figure out what the hell's going on. I mean, like when she met with all the other people that were, not infected, and like she was like, wait, we're not, you don't want to go back to what it was. They're like, actually, this is actually great. Like we're getting everything we want. And, my relatives who are dead are coming back. It's a really good show. I do have a hot take though about her, which is, and maybe it's because she's actually a really good actor, Rhea Seehorn. But she's annoying me. Like she's getting on my nerves. Like I've been watching it with Maria, my girlfriend, and I just keep saying to her, I'm like, she's really pissing me off. Like, why is she such a prick to everybody?
I think that's the intent.
Yeah, no, I know. But anyway, it's a great show if you haven't seen it on Apple.
Definitely. What was Walter's wife's name? Skylar.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely some Skylar vibes.
Yes, absolutely. That's a very good comp right there. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much. We'll see what happens in the next few days. Maybe we'll try to get some guests or recirculate whatever rumors happen. Follow us on our social media pages. And for those listening on the audio feed, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Appreciate all you. And we're